All right, what's good, everyone? Welcome back to the Heart to Heart podcast. My name is Hafiz, and this is the third season and 14th episode. And today we have a special guest, Julie. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Please don't make this complicated. What about the time we wasted on our love?
We're going to start off with the gaming aspect of things. For those of you who don't know how it works, we ask each other three random lighthearted questions, and we have to incorporate three random words into each question, into each of our answers. You ready to get started? All right, so if you had to pick one specific method of commute, so one of the following methods of commute for the rest of your life, which one would you pick and why? And your options are skateboarding, scootering, or biking. You had to pick one for the rest of your life. Which would it be? And your words are marine, citizen, and drive.
I would choose biking because then I could go by the marine or the sea, or I could do both. I could be in San Diego and drive and see the Marines and see the marina. And also because I'm a citizen of the United States of America and we have lots of great bike paths to do. And then I need to be healthy, and I want to be healthy as I age, so I want to drive less and bike more.
Nice. It's a good choice. I take skateboarding, by the way, but good choice.
Okay, so this is my question for you. What new dance move would you create that would go viral on TikTok? And you have to describe how it's done. And your words are skilled, draft, and motorcycle.
Okay. All right, let me start off by saying I'm really not skilled at dancing. I don't do it at all. But let's say I was to pick one, right? A viral one, if you will. Obviously, I'd start off by testing a couple different ones in the draft and see where it goes. But, it'd probably be something related to like a gym workout, right? It's like, because I love going to the gym, I love working out and things like that. And if you can make a dance out of that, it's a win-win. It's a 2-in-1, right? And then you could have this video of you just doing it, and then people would just think you're so cool because, well, you're working out, quote unquote working out. But also it's entertainment, right? And cool people love motorcycles, by the way. So it's like, that's the route that I would take. I'll take
Very
that.
good. Very good.
Thank you. All right, so my next question for you is: if you had to pick to live with one of the following animals, which would it be? A dolphin, a cat, or a duck?
Oh, this is so easy.
I had to pick one of those.
It would be cats.
Okay, and your words?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, hold on. Your words are adopt, basketball, and feather.
Okay, I knew this as soon as you said it. It would be cats. I would adopt. We have 4 cats now. We had 5. So I would continue to adopt. I'd have many more cats if my husband would let me. I would want to have, we have 4 cats now, and plus me and my husband, so that's enough for a basketball team. And one of the reasons I like cats is they don't have feathers, so then I can't be tickled. So it would be cats hands down.
Nice. Have you ever thought about like having a dolphin in your backyard or something like that?
Well, you know what? We went to the turtle rescue that's in Georgia where they rehab turtles. It's actually pretty cool. So if they're injured in the ocean, and after seeing these big turtles, I'm like, I want a turtle in my backyard. I'm like, I want to get a pool and have a sea turtle. My husband's like, you're crazy. But yeah, no, I would do a sea turtle for sure.
Fair enough.
Well, I'm excited because I have an animal question for you. You've been given a giraffe. You can't give it away or sell it. What would you do with it? And your words are if, graduate, and manager.
All right, picture this. I graduate school. Now I'm a manager of a very big company. If I was given a giraffe, assuming I had the resources necessary, I would keep it next to me. I think giraffes are cool. I mean, yeah, they're like freaking tall and stuff, but it'd be cool to have another animal, just a unique animal, by the way, one that not many people have. So I'd like keep it around me, if there's like a maybe a farm, or maybe not even a farm, just like a place close enough that I'd be able to work with it. I'd keep it because why not? So yeah, I'd just keep it around.
Very cool.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so my last question for you is, you had to drink one of the following for the rest of your life. Which would it be? Apple juice, orange juice, or milk? And your words are voyage, effort, and state.
Okay, if I had to drink one of those for the rest of my life, I would choose orange juice, because then I could go bon voyage on a cruise to see in the tropics where they're making oranges, or at least a cruise to Florida, right? I'm pretty easy. I would do that because it doesn't take me any effort to drink orange juice right down the hatch. I'm not a milk person, so that would take a lot of effort to drink milk. And then the good thing also about orange juice is you can get it in every state, even Alaska. So that's what I'd do.
Nice. Good call.
All right, your last question. If you could get rid of one state, what would it be and why? Now, if you don't want to harsh on America, you can choose a country that you can get rid of. So you either have to pick one state or a country that you'd get rid of and why. And your words are fashionable, fairy, and contrary.
Okay, so contrary to popular belief, New York City or New York as a state is not really it's not as described usually, right? It's considered one of the more fashionable states, but it's not as well as the image, the rep that it usually gets. Sometimes it's seen as this very location that's just the home of everything cool. It's just not the case. In fact, the reason I want to get rid of New York is because they compare it to Toronto, where I'm from. And I don't like that comparison. So because of that, I would like to get rid of New York. They don't deserve it.
Hey, I'm all right with that.
I feel like a lot of people in America don't like New York.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been there once, but, I would be fine with it.
Fair enough. All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for participating in this. It was fun. Now, I want to talk to you a bit about having a lot of things to do in life. So, when you're just crammed with things to do and you get overwhelmed, and it gets very hectic and you're not sure what to do. What advice would you have for someone in that situation?
Great question. So a lot of times when people have clutter in their life, it's because they're overwhelmed. And we all get overwhelmed. I mean, who hasn't? I've gotten overwhelmed before. So when all else fails, I'll say this. If you can't think when you're overwhelmed, stop and take a deep breath. When I first started my business, I had been working on this house, and I got to the pantry, and it was the biggest pantry I'd ever seen in my life. It was like 6 or 7 feet tall. And I was like, oh my God, what do I do with this? And I just said, stop, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. So that's when all else fails, do that. Break things down into manageable steps, right? When you're overwhelmed, you're like, I can't think, I can't do. What one step can I take? And then take another step, and then take another step. And then I'm a huge fan of planning. If you plan, then you tend to not get overwhelmed because you're like, okay, I've got to get all these things accomplished this week. If I plan my week, I can do a little bit of every day instead of waiting till Friday when I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed because I haven't worked all week. But if you've taken some time to plan, makes it easier.
Right. So let's say you're in a situation where you have to break it down into smaller steps, but you don't have the motivation to do so. You're just completely burnt out. You're tired. That's it. You're burnt out. Like, what would you say to someone in a situation?
Well,
like
then
that?
I'd say, do you have the funds to hire someone? Is it something you were like, if you're like, oh, I don't want to do laundry, for instance? Well, can you hire someone? Can you barter with a friend? Say, hey man, I'm not feeling doing my laundry this week. Can you come over and I'll do something for you next week? You know, there's always the option to farm it out. And then you have, the other thing I would say is it really important? Like if you're like, I don't feel like doing my laundry this week and you have enough underwear, okay, then don't do it. Right? If you have enough to last you till next week. Now, if it's something like for your job, which is your paycheck, and you're tired and exhausted and unmotivated, then that's something you just got to push through. We're at my dad's the other day, and he's like, come on, Jim, you just got to get on the bike for 30 minutes. Just get up and do it. And he got up and did it. So sometimes, you know, it's just life. You got to push through it.
But how does someone identify what's considered as important versus what they just might want to do at that moment?
Great question. So if you're clear on your priorities, then you know it's important. That's the biggest thing. And most people aren't clear on their priorities. So you have to say to yourself, what's most important to me right now? And know that life happens. So it might be important to you this week, but then something happens and change. Like my mom got sick. So my business was my priority. I had to go on the back burner a little bit because taking care of my mom was a priority. So one, being clear on your priorities, I think is probably the biggest thing that you can do to support that. And, you know, I would say also dig deeper. So many of us lack self-awareness. So why aren't you motivated? Maybe that allows you to discover, you know what? This isn't my priority. I thought I wanted to write the next great American novel. And every time I go to sit down and write, I don't want to do it. Well, maybe you don't want to write the novel. Maybe you want to write a play. You know, and that's about self-awareness and getting off autopilot and figuring out what's important and what gifts do I have to share with the world.
So let me just tack on. Let me just add on to that suggestion there. What if someone finds themselves continually jumping from things to things and not necessarily focusing on one thing? Well, what would you do in that scenario?
Great question. Again, that's about awareness. Is it because you're young and 20 and trying to figure things out, and you're like, you know what, I just want to try a couple things and see what sticks? That I think is okay. Now, if you do that for years and years and years, then I'm going to say, what are you avoiding? A lot of times there's something deeper going on there. Is it avoiding something, or you have a fear of commitment, you know, or you don't have the self-confidence, you don't think you have the skills to complete a project? And then you have to ask, well, why is it that I can't get something done? Why is it I go from one project to the next? So it's about having that honest conversation with yourself and what's really going on here.
Yeah. So what if it's a scenario where someone knows they don't have the skills, but so they know they don't have it, they want to do it, but just can't get themselves to do it quite yet?
Well, then how can you learn? Can you listen to a podcast? Can you read a book? Can you watch a YouTube video? Can you find a mentor? You know, in every moment you have a choice, and doing nothing is a choice. And people, you know, I say become aware of that. People don't have a choice. Yes, you do. And when you don't do anything, that's a choice. So if you really motivated, you get your butt down to the library. If it means being on the bus and researching or saying to the librarian, hey, can you help me figure this out? There's a will, there's a way. You can learn the skills. You really can. And I don't care if someone's
that is true,
told you your whole life, oh, you're not blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to listen to you. Stand down. I know in my heart that I can do it.
Yeah, especially with the resources now available on the internet. It's not really much of an excuse anymore. So what, I lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. So what if someone is in an environment, so it's actually kind of related to what you just brought up on. Let's say they're in an environment that they cannot really escape, and it isn't really helping them towards achieving what they want to achieve. What would you say to a person in that situation?
You have the choice. Again, you know, there are a bazillion different scenarios that could happen, but what can you do each day to get out of that environment? Within that environment, you control your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. No one can take that away from you. Think about Elie Wiesel in the Holocaust, you know, and all of that. Like, he didn't allow them to take away who he was. So the same thing, you can control your thoughts. Your thoughts create reality. So how can you build upon that? You know what? What do I need to do to get out of this environment? this environment is not me. I'm better than this. I can achieve more than this. If people are telling me I can't, I'm going to tell myself I can. What outside of my environment can I seek and find? Can I find a support group? Can I find a mentor? You know, what else do I need to learn to be able to be successful and move forward? If you want it, there's a way. But I believe so many of us are complacent in life and we're on autopilot. We don't have the courage. And I don't say that as judgment. I say that as a fact. We don't have the courage to move forward. Everyone listening and watching to your show has a gift to share with the world. That might mean being the best janitor that ever walked the earth. My great-grandfather was a janitor. You know, I think with social media and all these things, it's like, oh, you know, be a football player or be an influencer. I hate that word. You know, well, no, okay, that's not realistic, a lot of that. And, you know, to take hits isn't really a skill. Having a room full of rowdy kindergartners who maybe come from challenged backgrounds and being able to communicate to those kids, that's someone in my book that's a hero. So just finding out what you love and finding out your skills and saying, you know what, I don't care what my environment is. I am not my environment and I can succeed.
Can we talk a bit about social media and how it impacts us as a society? First as a society and then as an individual. Can you talk a bit about that?
Sure. I think that I'm grateful I didn't grow up with social media, because I have to tell you, I don't know what I would have done. And I was a shy person and I have never been perfect. I don't like the word mistakes. I've learned some lessons. So I think it's very difficult. I can't imagine growing up today with the constant social media presence. I think as a whole, it's harmed us because it's allowed misinformation to spread. You know, what's true? Opinion and fact are very different things. And most of us don't know what the facts are. We don't take the time to research. We listen to some talking heads. So I think it's allowed hate to spread. I think it's allowed, for lack of a better term, kind of a generic evil to spread. On the other hand, there are good things there. I would have never met you if it wasn't through social media. There are lots of people I've met and people that are different than I am that I've connected with that have allowed me to expand my horizons and learn new perspectives. So it's good in that regards. I think individually, you know, if your self-esteem is not so good, stay off social media. I don't think, there are these kids that don't understand, and some adults that these aren't real. I read about some influencer who'd spend hours trying to find the perfect shot. Oh my God, I'd go crazy. I don't have enough time. I've got too much stuff to do to spend, looking perfect in every shot. So it's not realistic. And so we think, oh, why can't I be like this? I think of the Kardashians I don't understand it, who created this ideal, in quotes, beauty, yet they can't even live up to their standard. Like, you can't get away from them. And what was it that Chloe wanted, that real natural picture where she looks fantastic? Didn't want that because she's created such a ridiculous standard. The whole family has, and even she can't live up to her standard. And look, how crazy are you? You have to have a picture where you look really good and want it removed from the internet. And that's not healthy. Not good for your mental health, your emotional health. And so think about people that follow that and are influenced by that. And, and that's the same thing as being an individual saying, I'm going to be me. I'm going to do me. I don't look like that, but I'm going to still love myself instead of creating a ridiculous standard. You have to have the wherewithal within to say, this doesn't work for me. I'm going to do my own path. So, again, I think there can be good things, but I think we've reached a tipping point with social media, and I'm hoping that it lessens, that we go back to real life. Once we're over this, I don't think COVID's ever going to completely go away, but we have to learn how to live with it. So once we're able to do more in real life interaction, I think that's going to be really important.
Yeah, and it is going to be a challenge coming back from, being locked and whatnot, but I don't know, social media is, so it's helped in good ways, but obviously it's done a lot of damage. See, here's the thing, because social media is used to promote only the best of the best, and people see that, they assume that that's the standard, and now they think, okay, how can I level up from that standard? And it kept getting pushed up to the point now it's physically not possible to maintain that. It's impossible. No matter how high your self-esteem is, if you utilize social media, you will end up getting it hurt. Your self-esteem will take a huge hit. It's sad the amount of validation that gets seeked on social media.
Mm-hmm.
It's devastating to society as a whole and to each individual. And I am pretty sure, so if social media itself played a huge role in a lot of people having to go on antidepressants and things like
sure.
that. I'm positive social media played a huge role in that. And I don't, like, there's not much we can do at this stage, right? Because
But
like
we
that's
have to
it's already we're
break
already
that
got
addiction.
into.
Like, just walk around. I went in the gym today,
Yeah.
and the lady who looks like she's 80 behind the counter is on her phone. Not greeting me. She's on her phone. I've got my little thing. I look at my nieces and nephew who are teens. I'm like, oh, my God, put the phone down. We as a society have to stand up and say enough. Enough.
I have bad news for you. We're heading into a worse direction with virtual. Was it virtual reality?
With what?
I think it's virtual reality. Virtual reality. So it's like, yeah, we're heading into the wrong direction. But with that being said, the reason most people see, here's the thing. Social media is this place where people could go to escape their life. It's literally an escape zone for people. The problem is, life on social media does not, regardless of what you do on social media, that won't fix your situation in person. Most of the time. Sometimes you'll get money out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're an influencer or whatever, you could get some money that might impact it. For most people, that's not the case. For most people, you end up losing money, in fact, as a result of all the advertisements that are being pushed on there, and now you're pushed to buy this, and so on and so forth. So, with that being said, it just ends up being a loss in general for your average person today. Like, unless it's for keeping in touch with family and friends who are realistic, I don't know. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to, and it's always the next thing. Like, it was Facebook, then it was Instagram, it's TikTok, and whatever I don't know that's more popular than that I just have no clue on.
None. TikTok's the most popular right now. And these people are getting really smart. The algorithms and stuff, the way they keep people on the app is, have you heard about the TikTok algorithm and how it works? So I don't know the insides and outs of it, but basically it's tailored to the point it will provide you with the type of content that you are interested in. Obviously, the purpose of it is to keep you on the app for as long as possible. But the thing about that is also it rewards people for posting. So if you go to something like Instagram or something like that and you post, the only people who are going to see your stuff are people who follow you. With TikTok, it's being pushed out to everyone. And what it does though is you're going to post a couple different times, right? Let's say you end up having 10 posts. What will happen is one post will do well. It'll do decently well. And then that's a dopamine hit right there. And now you're after that dopamine hit. And you won't stop until you try and get it. Some people give up, but most people will continue going. And suddenly you're addicted to using that app and you're stuck.
I am not on TikTok. And they've said, oh, for business, you need to do it. I'm like, you know what? All my business will find me. I got to put a line in the sand somewhere and say no to TikTok.
Yeah. It is entertaining though. I'm gonna be honest. It is entertaining, but it needs to be controlled. Like, you have to, if you don't have self-control, you're gonna be completely lost.
Yeah.
It's like someone described it as a bunch of small movies. Like, like TV shows and episodes and stuff. It's like a bunch of small different ones. And so you just want the next one and the next one. They're intelligent. Whoever created it, good for them. Back to our topic. Sorry,
That's okay. It's all good.
I got a little off track. Okay, so let me ask you another question, okay? So let's say someone is trying to declutter their life, but the thing is, they feel guilty, right? Because they're used to, let's say, helping someone, but they realize, you know what, I gotta take care of myself, and I gotta, put helping people aside, but they start feeling guilty. What do you suggest to them? What do you
Let that guilt go.
Yeah.
You know, like the sign in my kitchen, if mama ain't happy, no one's happy. You can't support others if you're not at the best that you can be. And that it is okay to say, no, I've got to stop and take care of myself. And there'll be people who probably try to manipulate you and make you feel guilty. You've just got to be strong and say, nope, I'm taking care. I'm honoring myself. I'm putting myself first. You know, and that's something, again, like you can actively work on. If someone's like, oh, you used to help me and whining, you know, I'm unable to, I'm sorry. No, I've got to take care of me and be strong in that.
Is there certain ways of approaching that would be more ideal than others?
You mean if someone says, hey, you used to help me and now you didn't, and now you won't?
Yeah, just someone making you feel
Sure,
guilty.
you know
for it.
what?
Someone being like,
I'm not going to apologize for helping myself. Now, I'm a weirdo, and if I've got to have a difficult conversation, and even if I don't, I like to write stuff down. So I always have handy little things, especially if I'm, you know, setting a boundary maybe with someone for the first time, and I'm nervous, so I have all these little things. You know what? I'm unable to help you now, but maybe Sue down the street can. Or you know what? Ask me in 3 weeks. Perhaps I can help you then. Or I don't know, you know, I just heard of a new person who started a business. Maybe you could support her business and she can help you. You know, give them other alternatives if you feel moved to that, but you're not required to. So, and then just don't, and if you're like, oh, I feel so guilty, then again, close your eyes, deep breath, get centered. You know what? I don't have anything to feel guilty for. I'm just taking care of myself. I need to put myself first. And I think, you know, people try to manipulate us because especially if we've been doing something for someone for a long time, who'd want that to end? So it's like, no, putting a boundary and be aware who pushes your boundary. Some people be like, okay, like someone said to me the other day, wrote this letter of why they were raising their rates. I'm like, take your letter back. Okay. You've done a great job for me. All right. You're raising your rates. But I could tell they were nervous about that and they were going to, no doubt, get pushback from other people. Okay, you know, do that, but it was okay with me. You know, and it was, I think, affirming to them to hear someone say, okay, you don't need to explain it. You raise your rate. Okay.
yeah. How important are habits?
Ooh, very good question. I think they're really important. I think, you know, they found also if you do your habits or routines at the same time every day or week or whatever, you get them done more quickly. Habits create our actions, which create our reality. So, you know, if you're health is my big goal for this year. I'm like, I've got to take care of myself more. After taking care of my mother, I didn't take care of myself. So went to the gym today. I put it down as a thing to do. So going to the gym becomes a regular habit. If we don't make it a habit, it's a lot harder to push off and say no when it's something you do regularly. And, you know, you talked about that dopamine hit. Doing certain habits are going to make you feel good. It feels good to go to the gym. It feels good to sit down and write. So whatever those are, build this habit. You know, if you spend 10 minutes a day, at the end of the year, you're just over 60 hours. You can accomplish quite a bit in 60 hours. So whatever it is, you know, it doesn't take that little start. If you can't do 10 minutes, do 5 minutes, but start to build your habits. I think they're super important.
So what if someone has an idea as for a habit that they want to create, but just can't get themselves to do it. They just can't get past actually doing it. What do you suggest for them?
Then what's going to motivate you? Maybe you need to hire a coach, you know, and figure again, does it align with your priority? Because maybe you say something's a priority, and if you can't get in the habit, maybe it's not a priority. So that's about having an honest conversation with yourself. But they say, you know, then hire a coach, get a mentor, get someone, you know, get someone else's perspective about what's going on. You know, you've got to be internally motivated. Someone can help you say, oh, this is an obstacle. This is how we get around it. But, you know, again, take that step. Oh, I can't do this habit. All right, then do it for 1 minute. Just try for me 1 minute a day and see if you can build on that. You know, there's some people out there that just don't want to do anything. That's their choice. But I don't think that's most of us.
Well, that's true. It's true. What advice would you have for someone in their 20s?
Someone in their 20s, don't take life so seriously. It's going to be okay. Trust that everything's working in your divine good. You know, I remember, I want to be married and meet the right guy, and the guy that I married, my husband, he was the third guy that proposed to me. But I waited because I wanted it to be the right man. So don't settle. Don't sell yourself short. You can accomplish it. You can do it. You're much stronger and much more courageous than you think you are.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for hopping on. It was a really nice conversation. Thank you for your wisdom. And yeah, we'll call it off here. Take care, everyone, and see you later. Bye.